TTQ, they would like to get their first win of the season. It's all going to come down to who wants it more, who has the draft strategy, who has the hot picks, the hot takes. Speaking of some hot takes, we were farming some hot takes earlier. A couple of people had some things to say about League of Legends and about our league. So I hope you got to catch that pre-game little segment that was running on the waiting screen. But we're in the draft, and these guys wasting no time trying to sort through what it is that they want to bring into this series. Just as a reminder for our first-time viewers, it is a full best-of-3 series. The Silvermanes, they have looked convincing, a bit of a change from when we saw them in the Bonanza tournament. They are fast, they team fight really, really well, and they are extra motivated to get into a good spot in the standings because only the top 4 teams make it to our playoffs from every division, so these teams will be extra motivated as we are still waiting to put our prize pool together, so please be on the lookout for that when we get ready to announce our full prize pool after the playoffs are settled. The Silvermanes, they're going to open things up with the safe, the solid, the reliable Smolder pick in the bot lane. Love this champion. Takes a little time to come online. It's not the fastest, but when it does, my God, is it a team fighter? That 225 stack mark is what you're looking for. And so look to see Silvermanes try and pair that alongside a strong bot lane combo. Jarvan Lux going to be the pickup there for TTQ. They want to get themselves a little bit of lockdown. I like that. The Jarvan wants to try and eliminate that very, very immobile ADC in the Smolder. He does still have Flap to get away from some things, but that is a limited movement ability. It's not like going to get you out of a whole lot of trouble. It's just if you happen to have it, it'll help you reposition, but it is not a get out of jail free card. But when we talk about cards and being able to get out of jail free, Twisted Fate coming on in with the whole deck of cards and potential to give Silvermanes a win in this first game of the series. I like Twisted Fate. I think hyper underplayed over the last year. Xin Zhao, that is a bug on your screen. For whatever reason, Drafter does not correctly show Xin Zhao whenever you pick him in game. So, or rather when you pick him on the website. So just know that he is there. That is not a mispick or anything like that. It's just the picture doesn't show up. But I like Twisted Fate. I like what he brings into a semi-global, from a semi-global sense in terms of how you can move around the map. You have a lot of threat in terms of pickoff. You can respond to things in the side lane. And pretty decent damage. Now, the wave clear is not so great, so if you get in a position where you need to siege or you are being sieged, not the best champion for that, but I do like overall what he brings just as that stable mid laner. TTQ, though, TTQ, not going to be outdone on the global stance, so they will, in fact, be drafting some global of their own. Shen going to be the pickup there on the top side. Shen, I think, another solid pick, a bunch of solid picks coming through for both teams, but I think Shen has very few losing matchups on the top side. Really, if you're looking for any matchup that might lose, you're looking at something like potentially an Ornn or a Gnar that might be able to kind of poke and outduel him. So interesting to see what Silvermanes will draft there, as Sion was taken away from them. They also banned out the Mundo themselves. That's a dual flex ban, but then also Mordekaiser Urgot being taken away from the Silvermanes top laner. And so, but a couple of those stable picks still available. And Bessa, I don't expect that we'll see because she was kind of fairly heavily nerfed just with the ultimate nerfs coming through on this patch. And Zoe going to confirm that the Lux is going to go to the mid lane. But Gnar, Renekton, still available there. Ornn still available. Any of those champions would be really, really good. Now, Silvermanes could go something a little bit spicy. They could, perhaps try and draft themselves something like a Yorick or maybe a Vayne. We've been seeing quite a bit of that, not only in this league, but in professional play. So a lot of different options for them. They're going to wait, I think, to the last possible second. They want to see how they want to pair things. Braum on the Smolder makes a lot of sense. It also is going to help block that Lux ultimate. And the Zoe bubbles and the Qs. So as long as he's standing in front of that Smolder, he should be denying quite a bit of that natural CC that would be landing on the very vulnerable ADC. And that's the key to success. The longer you can keep this Smolder up in a fight, the better your chances are of winning it. And then the more time he has to farm without being set back, I think is going to give them some keys to success as well. Because, Smolder, once he reaches that 225 stack, he gets that execution threshold. And it is going to be the Renekton there for Silvermanes. And so TTQ, they need to lock themselves in an ADC. I don't think they want to go double AP bot lane. So now you're starting to look at something like a Caitlyn, a Yunara possibly. A Corki could also be the pickup there. Jinx also available if they choose to go that way. Vayne, wouldn't expect that to go into the bot lane, given what Silvermanes have drafted. They want something with a little bit more scaling. But if they wanted to play a little bit more early game, Lucian could be the pickup. And instead, it is going to be the Galio. Interesting. Okay, so this confirms to me that it is going to be Lux, Galio, bot lane, or Galio. So Silvermanes, they won the toss and they elected to go to the blue side. Now it's all going to be about execution, about who wants it more, the effort, the will to fight your opponent every step of the way. It's Illinois going to land a little bit of a cheeky flag. Not going to follow it with the drag, though, because, of course, he only has the one ability. But later on, that flag and drag will set them up for plenty of opportunities. Genetics, throw out the gold card. In hindsight, the Galio going mid, which I think is a great answer to the Twisted Fate, makes sense. He's going to be able to sustain himself kind of through a lot of that poke that Twisted Fate will naturally have. And then just generally be able to absorb the pushing state that TF kind of pushes out. Or that he has when he starts to push out once he gets level 2 and 3. And so, like, once Galio starts to reach level 5, 6, gets some extra points, in his taunt and his Q, won't really be too worried about the damage that the TF will put out. That said, though, they do not want any kind of early gold going onto that TF because then it would make it really, really hard. Sox Clinton going to get stunned up there. He's not going to go down on top of Din. Sox forced to flash out. Now Route 16 all by themselves. Going to have to walk on out of there. Yeah, she's going to be happy just to land some of the damage, but that did force out the heal from Dank Pengu and the barrier from Demps. And so a trade of some summoners there for the Ignite and the flash of the Zoe. Not a bad trade for Sox Clinton, though, on the Zoe, just because she'll be able to, or Sox will be able to grab those expended summoners whenever she gets the W. And this poke is going to be obnoxious for Silvermane, so they'll have to kind of endure this early state for a little while where the Zoe and the Lux are just naturally going to have pushing power. It's two mage champions. It's just annoying to deal with. But as long as they're careful with their health bars and they're not stepping too far forward and just are able to kind of freeze this wave underneath the turret, they should be fine. The cannon's there, so that'll provide them opportunity to slowly collect that wave underneath the turret, but Sox and Root, they're doing a really, really good job in this positioning, just finding angles to land this poke. And what's nice for them is a lot of what they want to land, they can land through the minion wave. So, the Lux E being able to just clip multiple people, you get a lot of value out of that. So this will just continue for the foreseeable future. Dank Pengu's going to have to be Johnny on the spot with a lot of these shield walls, because a lot of that poke landing from Sox and from Root will just absolutely delete the Smolder's health bar. Meanwhile, around the Rift, fairly even laning state. Top lane, not much to talk about. Just one CS back and forth. Polaris should have control of this lane. The Renekton early trading power is quite a bit better than what the Shin does have. He is able to effectively trade into that Shin. It's one of the very few champions that actually is able to. A lot of those Shin trades, those damage trades, are actually kind of deceptive just in terms of whenever he's able to stand in Spirit Refuge and they just auto you down. It's kind of obnoxious how much he can do, just these little bursts that he get. Oh, Taylor Swifties. Oh, stepped the wrong way. Needs to get underneath the turret. Doesn't blow the flash, but a little bit of a misstep there. It was close to costing him. Fully anointed, just going to stay and help his mid laner push this out. As Renekton helping to get some vision on the Scuttle. There's a Scuttle Crab Gaming going on. Interesting that Fully Anointed decided not to potentially go take a look at that Scuttle, especially with the pressure that they had in the mid lane just from Taylor Swifties. That would have been an excellent opportunity to kind of roam over and just, I don't know, take a peek, see what you can get, see if you can catch somebody rotating. As, they would have found the Renekton there, at least roaming around. All right, Dank Pengu going to be hopping forward to stand in front of Demps. He needs to watch his positioning. He's going to go Drowsy, though. The Q not going to get blocked. The focus is on top of the Smolder, but Route 16 needs to be careful. Demps trading back a little bit, dodges the binding. And they're not able to clear out the ward, but that's rough for him because he just got back to the lane, and now he's already below half health, is having to pop a potion just to try and see if he can stay there for a little while. Root and Sox Clinton, they have really good mana. So they don't need to go anywhere. They don't need to take it back. Rude, was potentially going to get stunned up, but got knocked Drowsy, and now this might be a potential double kill. Dank Pengu wants to at least get something, manages to get the stun. Flash forward from Sox to at least try and buy a little bit of cover. Dank Pengu going to blow the heal, but he will be dropping. It's a double kill, or either it's 2 kills on the bot side. And 1 apiece for those bot laners. Meanwhile, Genetics and Taylor Swifties trying to whack each other in the face. Albie's here, though, and Taylor Swifties forced to little flash in the mid lane just to survive. It's a little bit of a wombo party here. Uh-oh. Yeah, Genetics, you're going to go down here, is going to blow the flash. Gets immediately collected by Sox Quinnen, who was nice and tidy on that recall. An excellent little trade here from TTQ. This is what you want to see with this composition. Running around, getting quite a bit of damage across the rift. Oops, as I mess with the camera. And they're doing what they need to do. I like this early game aggression for them. I like the fact that they understand that Silvermanes is a very aggressive team, has good team fighting, and so they want to secure themselves as early a lead as they can get, and as much of a lead as they can get, which is good. And the gold's going where you want it to go. The Zoe having 2 kills there is going to be fairly nice, even though it is in the support role. She will just continue to do damage. Ooh, Drowsy going to connect over the wall, as it's going to be a Root and an E out for Root 16. And yep, Dimps, not long for this world. A 1 auto attack would do it if there was a follow-up, but no flash available on either of the bot laners from TTQ means he gets to keep his life. Because we're going to go into a replay. Oh, nope, no we're not. I hit the wrong button again. All right, well, we're going to ignore that, and I'm going to edit that out in post. Just kidding. I meant to hit the play replay button again, and instead I hit the record replay button. So, you know. The technical limitations of my brain once again striking. Right now, if you're Silvermanes, I want to see them try and apply pressure somewhere across the map right now, because it's clear that this bot lane matchup's really not going the way that they want it to right now. Over time, it'll equalize again, especially once Root and Sox try and start to move out of that lane. Once they decide that they want to be a little bit more proactive. Hit that button again. Once they decide that they want to be a little bit more proactive around the map, then that'll open up some opportunities for Demps and for Dank to push out a little bit and get a little bit of farm. Ping's going down here, though. All right, ultimate going to be committed from the Twisted Fate here. Galio ultimate a little bit late, though, to try and deny some of the damage. That's going to be 1 traded over, as RX Genetics to be happy to get that one. This might potentially be 3. Polaris gets 1 of his own. It's Ricky getting knocked up, forced to flash. They can take up this turret for a little while. RC Genetics needs to be careful, but they managed to split the turret aggro. It's a double kill for the Renekton in the top side. Polaris getting Silvermanes on the board. Fantastic play. Ooh, man, Sox landing these sleeps over the wall. Dankpinger, though, with the shield break. As we're going to watch that play again. So you can see here that Polaris, it looks like he's potentially a little bit out of position, but they're never really at too much risk. RX Genetics pops the teleport right at the perfect time. They managed to get down fully noited. Now they don't have a lot of CC that they need to buy some space. And now it's just trying to run underneath the turret, but really there's nothing that they can do. The health bar is really good for Silvermanes here. The juggling of the turret aggro, fantastic, making sure that no one's taking too much for too long. And yeah, Polaris gets the double kill, gets some turret plates. They're going to be very, very happy with that trade. And it's going to net them a little bit of a gold lead. And just as we were praising TTQ for some of the early game aggression, they get caught out by some return of early game aggression from the Silvermanes. And out this topside matchup here for It's Ricky gets quite a bit harder just because of the amount of gold that's going to be in the Renekton's pocket. Has the pickaxe, has the Caulfield's Warhammer. Is Bomb was summoned in the bot lane for some reason. I didn't see anybody fairly low health enough. And instead, Root 16 is going to say, that's cute. Let me take my turn and use my ultimate. And slays the dragon underneath the turret. Fully noited, however, may just be giving a kill back. As he's going to get over the wall and not get punished for his greedy positioning. I like that little tech that It's Ricky was trying to do there. He was trying to pull that way to the top side of that wall just to keep it out of turret range so he could farm it up a little bit, but that's really, really hard when Polaris is there on the Renekton. He could just continue to shove that wave. And unfortunately, the Shen not really in a position where he can take some of those aggressive trades because the Renekton damage is very disgusting, even though it's only item components. Yep, that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid taking long trades as It's Ricky. Because Renekton is very, very happy to trade his health bar. That rage stacking up gives him quite a bit of damage. Now, early dragon taken for TTQ off of that bot lane pressure. I want to see if Silvermanes prioritize these grubs at all. Albie just kind of hanging out in that bot side, wanting to see if maybe a play develops, but he is spotted on vision, so the TTQ should always know that he's there with that ward in the brush. As the camera going crazy. The CS difference between Dimps and between Root fairly big right now, to be honest with you. 74 to 58 is quite a bit. And a lot of that's just been due to how long Dimps has been down so many times in these deaths. That said, there will reach a point where Dimps is going to be way more valuable than Root as far as ADCs go, because that Lux damage does start to fall off. Even though the Final Light, the Lux ultimate does do quite a bit of damage as it scales, it's it's not the same as having an execute threshold automatically. So as long as I think his Dimps doesn't die too many more times, as long as he can get a couple minutes to just farm, get some more stacks, I think he'll be okay. And Dink doing what he can to try and limit some of this damage, but it's difficult as the Braum because you're not super tanky yet, and with the way that these two champions play in the Zoe and the Lux, they can kind of just ignore you. Sox keeps landing these bubbles over the wall. Eventually, he's going to learn not to step there. His ultimate comes out from Root to force Dimps underneath the tower. The Zoe and his Lux combo is starting to look a little bit disgusting. It's just every time you look down there, it's just Dimps at a quarter health bar. Oh, Sox. Oh my god. Root didn't even need Sox to land anything. Just kills Dimps underneath the tower. That doesn't feel good if you're the Smolder. As the laning woes continue, and now the Jarvan's here. They even called in some backup, has TTQ, and they want to pick up this Braum. They want to get the Cupcake Man out of the lane, and in fact, they do. Dank, what are you doing, buddy? You got to choose a spot. You got to choose a spot. Either be underneath the turret or be all the way away from it. As he's going to get CC'd up just a little bit. The Ignite's going to go down, but this may be the play they were looking for. Dink think they're going to survive. Clinton goes down. Alba here's going to be happy to pick up that gold. Root flashes away just to get killed in the end. RX Genetics, rather, picks up that kill. And surprisingly, no ultimate channeled by It's Ricky. Rather, it looks like it was down. Maybe it missed something there. I'll have to go back and look at that later on in the VOD, see what I missed there. But the Shen not able to make that play to go down and help the bot laners. Not that it mattered because Sox Clinton died almost instantly. It was a fairly painless death as League of Legends deaths go. Well, fully anointed. Yep, he's going to commit the Cataclysm here. Dimps is going to summon Mom, but he's going to get smited and, flashes away. He has a little bit of speed he needs. As fully anointed throws out another Q just to poke him a little bit more, but does not walk away with a kill. Thank God for Dimps. All right, let's see. Taylor Swifties force a flash out. Ooh, that's not so good. Was interrupted on that jump. Gold card going to come out. The health bar getting deleted. And who will pick it up? RX Genetics. Fully anointed can do nothing. Arrives just in time to see his mid laner go down. Root 16, though, has something to say about Sox on the backside of this. Wants to cut off the retreat. Flash forward trade. Oh, no, Dink Pingu the wrong way. Will be the sacrificial lamb. You hate to see it. Bounced off the wall. That's not where he wanted to go. And Silvermaids looked like maybe they were going out cleanly there for a second, but not able to. Is that an extended fight? They get the Galio under the turret, but they trade their support for it. Not the worst trade. So we'll see a replay of that one. So we saw on that top sign. Not much going on to the mid lane. Galio stepping too far forward. Taylor Swifties really not able to get away. The flash does get interrupted, goes straight up into the air. Gets knocked out. The gold card secures it, but then this is where things get a little tricky for Silvermaids because they're on the wrong side of this. Root and Sox have rotated over. They've got the stun and the CC that they need overall to try and lock somebody down, but Albie's able to get away. Dank Pingu didn't need to flash there, unfortunately. He could have walked away and just goes the wrong direction, thinking maybe something else was going to happen, and it didn't. And so, unfortunately, gives that trade kill over. And Silvermaids, they're just trying to stay scrappy. They're trying to buy time for Dimps. They're not on a timer here at all. Ooh, Albie is going to come here underneath the turret. Flash forward. It's Ricky. Manages to buy just a little bit of space. Gets out from underneath the turret, but will be trading this objective to the Hungry Crocodile on the top side. If you've ever played the game of Hungry Hungry Hippos, well, this is the game of Hungry Hungry Crocodile. And unfortunately, when your finger gets bit by the little contraption, you don't get it back.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
It's Ricky. He's been bit a number of times by this spicy crocodile. Dink Pingu does not have the flash, so he is potentially just dead here. As it's 3 strong for the side. TTQ does a really good job. Fancy feet. Ooh, manages to avoid. That's going to be the Cataclysm come in. A lot spent here to get the Braum, who is still alive. It will be potentially... Ooh, might have been 1 for 1. Is fully anointed. Got a little too close to the turret. Yeah, Dink Pingu goes down there, but my God, the footwork. You want to talk about dancing on the razor's edge. And that was exactly what Dink Pingu was doing there. Just so much CC avoided. Dimps needs to not get hit by a Sleepy Trouble bubble here. That would not be good for him. I want to get a replay of that. As Root, they're going to take down the top side, or the bot side turret, rather. So let's see this. As the bot side, so you saw in towards that top side where something going up. Nope, never mind. We can't do that because we got to go back to live. Taylor Swifties might have potentially been caught out there, but now looking for the re-engage, manages to convince Silvermanes and Co to back off. And they will, in fact, do so. As now I'm going to go get my replay. So you saw there, as we got from the top side, how Dank Pingu was trying to fight for Vision there a little bit, and so is 100% caught out here. I don't disagree with the play for Vision here, but I think just a little bit risky given it. But watch how much CC he's able to avoid. So he dodges the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's one. Gets hit in the Cataclysm, but never got knocked up by the Flag and Drag. Dodges Root's ultimate, and then ends up getting picked up in the end just through sheer damage. But we're going to talk about the support, having great movement, having great awareness. Yeah, Dank Pingu, that belongs in a highlight reel, my friend. If you get a chance to grab that one, just show how good your movement is. Okay, question here. Does Silvermane know how strong their advantage is here? Sox is going to be immediately engaged on. Gets tagged over the wall by Dank Pingu. Will be dropping the gold card to make sure that that one gets secured. Now Polaris going to zone off multiple members here. They want to call out this rotation to make sure that they pick up this Rift Herald nice and clean, and they will, in fact, do so. Ping's coming down. Is TTQ realizing that they have no control over their own jungle, they don't have vision, don't want to step too far forward, and so they will just choose to let that objective go. I like that call. Don't try to get too aggressive. You've already lost somebody on the top side. You're not in a position to fight. You don't know where everyone's at. I mean, you know, when I say you don't know, you know that they're in the Rift Herald pit, but you know that you can't get over there clean. Demps is going to call down Mom on top of Rude. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure summoned up. Used to try and see if they could knock up Root, but did not manage to do so. Did, however, get the Flash. And so that is a helpful tool that they can get later. As RX Genetics going to show his fancy footwork. Flashes out to avoid the follow-up from the Galio. Now it's a full team fight here. What can Silvermanes get? The Galio ultimate just to buy 5 feet of space? I guess you use it if you got it. Nothing to fight for here for either team, so they will just batter each other and then move on. No police called to this public disturbance. As Polaris is going to pick up yet another turret and be very, very happy as the crocodile. The question is, and maybe we can put this out in chat, is what kind of boots do you think Renekton would be wearing? Like, what are they made out of? Like, is he finding Cassio and getting a pair of snakeskin boots? Like, is that how that works? Or, I mean, can you even skin Galio? Like, what does that look? Is it just a pair of stone boots? Ooh, Taylor Swifties ignited, but manages to get away, but will not be allowed to stay underneath that turret. We'll have to step back all the way off. I love this. I love what Polaris is doing. He's utilizing the full strength of his Galio. Oh, but fully anointed, though. Going to be using the full strength of that Cataclysm. Knocks down Demps underneath the mid lane turret. As unfortunate, the Twisted Fate ultimate not going to be able to buy enough space there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm crazy. Nobody died there. What am I saying? Demps lived. I'm absolutely insane. I was for sure that Demps had died there, and he did not. All right, my apologies, Demps. I had a stroke in the middle of the stream, so just if you'll give me that one, I won't do that again. I will not declare you dead when you were, in fact, not dead. The government tends to frown upon that sort of thing, I hear. And speaking of frowning upon things, TTQ is going to be frowning upon potentially the way they're going to have to get into this river. A little bit of a man disadvantage now, and it's going to be Twisted Fate committing the ultimate. Dank Pingu surely going to be the first to fall here. So low on the Braum. Does manage to get away for now, though. Sox doesn't want to let him go and picks up the kill, but now he's exposed the rest of his team on the backside. The health bar is not healthy for any of these members. Oh, no. RX is step into the Sleepy Trouble bubble. That's not what he wanted for ours. Forced to flash out. It's a 1-for-1 so far. The health bar is really, really low. And it's a top laner for a support. The health bar is still in a better state here for Silvermane, so they will go ahead and grab their first. Oh, Sox wants to see if he can have something to say about this. Wants to pick up a kill, potentially flash forward. Hits Demps with the Drowsy, but he does manage to get over the wall fully noted. They can get a little bit of vision. They can pick him off, and they do manage to do so. The drag secured, but can they find their way out? Gold card going to be thrown down on top of the Jarvan. Smiting just to see if he can beat a little bit of damage to maybe kill him. Doesn't manage to do so. Sox Clinton managing to hit the Sleepy Trouble bubble. RX Genetics on a rampage. So much fighting across either side of this. It is going to be a 2-for-2 in the end, but I'll be here. May have something to say about it. Manages to dodge yet another Sleepy Trouble bubble. Does get hit, though, by the light binding. Instead, it will be the Braum that goes Drowsy. Throwing out the shield to buy a little bit of space, but it's not enough to block the damage. Didn't get in range to keep it from hitting his jungler. And so Root, she'll be happy to pick up yet another kill. 6-2-2 on the Lux, having a really good game. I also love that skin. I love Darkstar Lux. It's a fantastic skin. It's visually one of the cleanest skins, I think. So it's nice seeing that whenever it just hits stuff clean. Alright, so for both teams, Silvermane's, the pacing of the game is good for them right now. They've already collected these outer turrets. They do still have their mid and top turrets to play around, so they have a bastion of strength there. They're in a really good spot right now. They're starting to catch up Dimps just a little bit. He is still under-farmed for a Smolder, but is just going to continue to pick up stacks. We'll have plenty of time in that mid lane to farm away. Especially in the shorter lane where he's going to get more and more waves quite a bit faster. So you're not too panicked right now if you're Silvermanes. You're chilling. You're allowing your Renekton and your Xin Zhao to sort of bridge this early to mid game gap that you have right now until you can start to get the Smolder to where he needs to be. You know, you've got a dragon, so you've stopped the dragon stacking. You used the Rift Herald play very successfully to get the mid lane turret, so you picked up that gold. And you got the grub, so you have the passive seizing. So that's pretty good in terms of bridging your mid to late game. And for TTQ, they need to continue to try and find ways to pick off the damage carries here for the side of Silvermanes, because that is the big thing for them, is a lot of their damage, at least in this late game, is going to be locked up in two of these members. Fully anointed, though, way too far behind enemy lines, and now it may be the Galio joining, or sorry, rather the Shen joining. He's going to get knocked up and just dashes straight to his death, flashes straight into the wall, but it doesn't matter. Hit by the gold card. He's going to be sent to the timeout zone. Penalty box. Go take a dirt nap, mister. We'll see you here in a few. Goodbye, stinky. Says Silvermanes. Ooh, they fancy themselves a potential Barons. 2 kills, jungler dead. They have a lot of damage. Albi, RX, and Polaris, they can do quite a bit here. As long as the Crocodile doesn't get hit up here too much. Gets deleted by the bot lane duo of TTQ, but now Silvermane's going to try and find one of their own. They managed to do so. I do not recommend going back to this Baron, as the jungler is up, and that would be an ill-advised choice, and they indeed heed the warning they don't know they're getting, and instead will just walk on out of there. I don't like that play from Polaris. I'll be honest. You had a very clear way forward to just continue to kind of jump on top of the Baron. If the goal was to look for the peel and look for the leave off. Sorry, I'm forgetting my terms. If you were the goal, my God, English is very difficult language. If the goal was to look for the turn, then they should have had maybe 1 or 2 other people kind of waiting in that brush and only send 2 people to kind of tag at the Baron just to draw people forward, even if the goal was only even to get summoners off of TTQ. I think there was a better way to do that. And so Polaris kind of sitting in the bush alone, I think always is going to die there. Because once you get spotted out, multiple people from TTQ, they're just going to kill you. And so I think Silvermanes legitimately thought that TTQ would be more worried about the Renekton and would instead back off. But TTQ, credit where credit's due, not playing scared. Saying, yep, we'll take your free Crocodile Dundee meal with no charge and walk on out of there and stop you from doing the Baron. And so for Silvermanes, they need to clean up the shot calling here a little bit, be a little bit more in tune as a team with what they want to do in terms of that call. We shouldn't ask them about that if we get to talk to them in the in-game interview with Sox Clinton. The Q just barely short, just tickles the blonde just a little bit. You can feel the whisper of it on the back of his neck, but does come up short. With TTQ, as I was highlighting earlier, they need to find a way to continue to pick the squish your members here on the side of Silvermanes. So you're looking for RX Genetics, you're looking for Dimps. You want to knock those 2 down. You want to make sure that they don't have any time to get active in a fight. And you want to be there before RX Genetics is. And you want to try and deny vision, because even if RX Genetics isn't there early, he can respond to anything else that the Shen wants to do. And I actually really like what he's doing, RX Genetics is doing right now, because he's keeping the Shen from getting involved and being able to teleport. And I think right now TTQ really needs the Shen more than Silvermanes needs the Twisted Fate. I think just with the pacing that this game is going, Silvermane's team fighting has been really, really good. And they're just going to look to turn and start the Dragon. TTQ, what do they want to do here? They'd like to not let this go if they can. Not yet signaling what they want to do, is Mom's going to come out to buy a little bit of space. TTQ may instead be looking for the afterplay here, seeing if they can pick something up on the backside. Fully noted, though, once again, on the wrong side of the fight, not near his team, and it is instead going to get punished. Ooh, nice ultimate from Albi to knock the Jarvan back. No, sir, you're not going anywhere, he said to Sox Clinton. Now trying to run for the hills. Another auto's going to do it. It's a double kill for Dimps. He's getting paid for all the suffering he had earlier. Is this Smolder Ooh, 2, 5, and 4. Not the great score line, but that does not tell the story of what he's gone through and what he's now getting accomplished. And Ping's now going on to the Baron Dimps. Needs to watch his positioning here. It's Ricky. Ooh, that taunt would spell surely disaster with the Lux waiting at the wings, and so does make the wise play to join the rest of his team. And Silvermane's happy with that. Great fight around Dragon. They get 2 kills onto the most important members. This big purple worm going over for free. And I like what Silvermanes are doing. They had a rough early game in that bot side, but now they have, I would say, fully recovered. Black Cleaver, smart item build there for Dimps. That has not yet built any more extra armor pin items. It has not built the root. Hasn't built himself a root yet, but can potentially look to do so after he gets another damage item. We'll see where he wants to go. So he is going to build the dual swords. That's what I like to call them, the dual swords. It almost reminds me of... I call them the Zuko swords, because they remind me of the sort of Dao-looking blades that Prince Zuko had from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Shout out the Avatar: The Last Airbender film. It was fantastic. It's a shame it got leaked all over the internet, but also I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it, so it was kind of cool. Really, really, really good animation. Love the story. Shame that the original voice actors were not invited to come back, though. I am sad about that. All right, Silvermanes, you're wearing purple for the next 2 minutes. So that means that they have plenty to work with. I like what they're doing. They're learning some lessons from the last years they played. They're spreading out the love. And speaking of spreading out the love, this is RX Genetics spreading his love all across the map. It's 2 kills in the mid lane. A root. Going to be watching as her support dies right in front of her eyes. It's a horrific death. And it's Ricky going to be watching his life flash for his eyes as he tries to get the hell away from this Renekton. It's an angry crocodile. He's got a lot of teeth and he wants to bite things. And Shen looks awfully crunchable. And for TTQ, this is about as bad as it gets. As Silvermane, they've got purple for at least another minute and a half. They can do a lot of damage to this base. It's Ricky, not sure that's what you wanted to take into 2. Dashes forward to his death. Polaris happy to take the donation. And this is going to be 2 inhibitors coming down. Teleport going to be committed here from RX Genetics to look to potentially try and close this game down. Potential man disadvantage towards the top side. Polaris doing a really, really good job to help Albie buy some space. And now the damage coming through. Silvermane, they want to put the final touches on this game. The health bar is just too low. Taylor Swifties running to the fountain, trying to get anything. Dimps just donates the kill over. He doesn't care. He's like, I've already had bad enough game. I'll dive you in the fountain. But Silvermanes, they're going to dive straight into the first game win of this series. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back, and we are bright and bushy-tailed, and we are getting ready for draft in this game number 2. As we're waiting for them to load into the lobby, I want to see what TTQ can do. I want to see them give me something, a reason to believe, just a little bit of something to fight for. Just give me a reason. Give me a reason, and all the fans to believe the TTQ that you can, in fact, get yourself out of this position. As the bans are largely going to be kept the same coming into this game number 2. Mordekaiser, TTQ do not want Silvermane getting it. They do not want Polaris getting his hands on that champion. And they sure as hell don't want them to get his hands, his grubby little dirty plankton minion hands on that Urgot. It's not going to be the switch up there. Mundo also going to hit the ban board, denying that flex pick away from the TTQ top laner and the jungler. Silvermanes, what do they want now? The world is their oyster. They very, very heavily focused getting that bot lane priority a little bit there for Dimps, although they didn't end up needing it. It ended up being a mid and top show in the majority of that game. And they're going to draft some safety, so they're going to get the Ezreal locked in there for Dimps. You should see what they'll pair alongside that. A number of really good enchanters that can play with it. Karma comes to mind. Obviously, the Nami taken away. Janna's another champion that likes to be paired alongside the Ezreal at times. But they could look for a little bit more engaged. Lulu also available in this first round. Is TTQ, they want to go similarly, back the similar direction that they went with draft number 1. They're going to grab that Sejuani. Look for a little bit of hard commit CC. I like that. But they need to pair some melee champions alongside it to get the full value out of that Sejuani Frost stacking. So I want to see what they might look for there. A number of really good melee champions are available for them. Is Jhin going to be their answer to this Ezreal poke for poke? Scaling for scaling, damage for damage. It's that's sort of throwing the gauntlet down. That's TTQ saying whatever you can do, we can do. And that includes playing these high skill execution ADCs. This Jhin, we all have solo queue nightmares of the Jhin that got 2 kills in the early game and then ran away with the whole thing. Ooh, as a Nocturne going to be the selection there for Silvermanes, some mobility getting locked in early. And a great answer to the Sejuani. You want to help keep your teammates safe from just getting Glacial Prison? How about just turn off all the lights and then make sure that the Sejuani can't see you? It's a pretty good answer in my book, and Silvermanes seem to think so too. I like Game 2 drafts like this after one team's coming off of a kind of a disappointing loss a little bit there is the Zaheen. I guess there's a problem with just this slot on the website where it just refuses to show the picture, but regardless, Zaheen going to be the pickup there for Silvermanes. Interesting to see that the Zaheen is going to go on the top side, which basically confirms that it's going to be Nocturne jungle. Not that he would really go anywhere else, but sometimes teams do interesting things when it comes to drafts, so we'll see what they want to do going forward. Malphite going to be the answer on that top side to the Zaheen. Ulti for ulti. I like it. I like the follow-up engage to the Sejuani. Also some melee synergy, just to make sure that they're getting the full use out of that Sejuani as we get ready to go into second round and pick some bans. I think if you're TTQ, you want to try and pinch this mid lane pool as hard as you possibly can. And then, I guess their decision is they want to try and eliminate a little bit some of these follow-up supports that are easy to pair with the Ezreal, so the Karma does make sense. Perhaps the Lulu might be joining the ban board next. Not sure what else Enchanter-wise you would want to pair with that. It's the Silas. Instead, going to round out, they want to deny that away from RX. And also a lot of really good ultimates for him to steal too, so it would make sense that they want to get rid of the Silas to deny any easy follow-up engage champions. As Asol going to be the pick away from, or the ban away from TTQ. So a number of really good mid laners still available. Orianna, Mel is still available. I'm trying to think who else might be interested in. Ryze, I wouldn't expect to come out in this matchup unless we saw something fairly short range. I think Ryze kind of got hurt pretty badly by the Fleet Footwork nerfs. Or sorry, the Phase Rush nerfs. Thinking of any other. Xerath would be a decent long-range answer. Hawaii, a champion that we have not seen any of so far within the TLS, is going to be the pickup there for TTQ. But potentially vulnerable to a nasty mid lane pick here. Soraka going to be the Enchanter pickup there for the Ezreal. I wasn't expecting the Soraka just because I feel like she's fairly vulnerable in the laning phase, even though her poke is fairly good. It's just, you know, if you're trying to face something that can engage on you fairly easily, then it becomes difficult. And TTQ have yet to lock in a support, unless that Malphite is support, or God forbid the Sejuani is a support for some reason. That would be a hell of a draft mix-up. As the Silvermane still need a mid laner here. Trying to think of some things long range. Xerath wouldn't be the worst answer. LeBlanc would be pretty good, as for whatever reason. Yeah, for whatever reason, the website's just not cooperating with that. Is Pyke going to be the pickup there for the Jhin to be paired alongside? As it's lights out, no way we're on to the Rift. Silvermane's one up in this series. TTQ, they want to get a win. They want to fight to get their series win, their first one of the season. They're down 0-2. No one wants to go down 0-3. There's a cheeky stack here on this top side. JRX Genetics is, however, going to spot all three of those members coming there and will instead do a hop and a skip to get away from there. I'm not really sure how to predict the way this bot lane matchup is going to go because there's arguments for both sides being able to get ahead. Demps obviously has a little bit more effective poke in that it's consistent, so he doesn't have to reload. Root is going to be slightly disadvantaged by that, you know, core mechanic of the Jhin. And also is a little bit more risky in that if you want to get that fourth shot bonus, you kind of have to step fairly aggressively forward in order to get it. So that does put you in danger, and Soraka likes it when targets walk into her so she can get that stacking on the silence and the healing. So long as they're able to avoid the hooks here, is Dim's doing a really good job in timing out Sox, putting their Ignite and Heal already coming out. Dim's having to walk away, as it was in the last game, getting that unfortunate part of that early trade. Deg Pingo, though, can keep him healed up and will start to nullify a lot of that damage that was placed by the TTQ bot lane early on. Another lane to keep your eyes on is this top lane matchup between Polaris and its Ricky. Polaris has been a standout performer for Silvermanes really through the entirety of the team's existence, and particularly this season in the games that they've played. And I like his style. I have to give respect to a jungler that, or sorry, a top laner that really knows the stuff, that knows the matchups, and knows how to position aggressively and knows how to push the limits with his champion without going over the limit. As he demonstrated with that Redacted in the last game, just doing a really good job of piloting that champion to its fullest capabilities. Is Sox Clinton going to force out the flash from Dank Pengu. Root was going to try and land that deadly flourish to get the stun. Dimps and Dank Pengu, they can just kind of farm here underneath the turret. They're not super worried about anything right now. Already this lane going much better than it did last time. They're not at a significant CS disadvantage, and he's not dead yet. So, hey, improvements. We take those. I do expect this early game to be fairly quiet, though, from Silvermanes in terms of the jungle presence. Really expect Albie here to just keep his head down and start heavily focusing on getting towards that level 6. And that's something that TTQ are going to have to be very cognizant of, because once he does reach that level 6, you're going to have to pay for respect of where he might be ganking from, and so these lane ganks become quite a bit easier for Albie to pull off. And so if you're TTQ, you need to be keeping mental track of that timer of, when you expect those jungle camps to be going down, in terms of how quickly Albie can take them. Sox looking for the hook here. It is going to miss. Now ping's coming down. Sox might be potentially out of place here, as he is going to get feared up, is going to get knocked back, is fleeing. Oh, but he might be the first kill. First blood going over to Albie, as I said he was going to be quiet. Fully noited, wants to see if he can find something. RX Genetics is trying to avoid getting hit with that final auto that would have given the stun proc over. Now Albie here. Once he didn't get something, fully anointed. This might not be where you want to be. Double flash out. Albie gets grabbed back. Taylor Swifties, one more auto would do it. Polaris, though not quite in range, didn't have the refresh of the E to get the grab back. Ooh, 2 juicy kills hanging over like tasty morsels over the fire, but Silvermane, they'll be itching. They'll be wishing they could have got those. It's kind of one of the moments you go, if I had just had just a little bit more time, a little bit more space to work with, could have walked away with that one, but Albie here, wasting no time turning me into a liar. I was expecting the Nocturne to just, mosey on through the jungle, pick up some camps, just chill out, brother. You got nothing to rush for, but he was like, nah, fam, I'm gonna go pick up this kill. You want to talk about getting to level 6 early? You know what does that? A nice little bit of gold as the Sox gets silenced out of the hook. I think Ping will be happy for that interaction. That'll be what makes playing this Pyke a little bit difficult, is the fact that Dank can just silence the Pyke before that hook gets all the way charged up and kind of cancel out that ability, prevent anybody from getting hit. Sox going to manage the short-range hook. Demps gets ignited yet again, is trying to walk out. Root, though, doesn't have the empowered auto yet because he just did reload. If he did have that, probably Demps probably drops there. But Root, she's doing a really good job trying to focus on the timings and powering the gen well so far. Keeping a constant pressure on the bot lane for Silvermanes, which is really going to be their main focus. And because for TTQ, Root really is a big part of their win condition. That's not going to feel good. Speaking of Root, Sox Clinton getting rooted. Good news for Root is she doesn't need to build an LDR this game because there is very little armor to shred through. Nocturne probably not going to build armor, at least right now. Is going to pick up a nice little kill, and that bot side, Root answering back, gets TTQ on the board as it was in the last game. She's on fire. But we need to see more. Need to see that lead, those incremental advantages of the bot lane actually translate to something, as we have yet to just see that at any point and throughout any of the games that TTQ have played so far. But that does not mean that the opportunity does not exist, as yet again First Dragon going to go over to the team formerly known as Team Q. And they'd like to get that dragon stacking going as early as possible. And get some early to mid-game coverage. Make sure that they're not feeling so weak. As Taylor Swifties is going to get chained. Loses about half of his health overall in that lane, and he's going to have to be very careful. RX Genetic, though, not taking the Ignite on the LeBlanc. Choosing instead to go for the lane summoner rather than trying to go for the combat sum, which I respect it. I like that. I think teleport's very, very important for mid laners to have in general. I think unless you're playing more melee-centric mid laner, I think it's just not worth it to take Ignite. All right, big level tick over here. Albie, level 6 now. He can potentially do something on his bot side as long as Dimps lives long enough. He is walking in range. They need to be cognizant of this. Ping's coming down. If Rude and Sock stay here a little bit too long, they might potentially get themselves caught out, but they do spot Albie on a ward. So they will be aware that the Nocturne is waiting in the wings and will instead choose to just back off a little bit, give a little bit of space. They don't need to get too aggressive. I still think right now, technically, they're a little too far forward. I think as long as Albie's anywhere near this bot side, especially around the Krugs, it's just a really easy engage onto both of them. So it's no flash available for the support of TTQ, as I was waiting to see if that was going to be a full engage commit there, as Dimps somehow still gets tagged through the minion wave. Dimps, he's having a rough time of it this series so far. This has not been fun for him. He's just constantly been getting poked underneath the turret, being forced out, getting killed. But that has been Silvermane's kind of modus operandi, just, kind of keeping their ADC on a survival pick, I would say, just a champion that, does have some tools to kind of get to the late game, but, not really expecting to play through that lane all that much, at least especially not this series. It's clear that they kind of just expect Dimps and Dank Pengu to absorb quite a bit of that pressure so that they can make plays elsewhere. As the Grub's now going to be spawned up and towards that top side. The mid lane pressure should mean that RX Genetics and Polaris should be able to walk over to this objective. Ping's coming down as Albie wants to try and fight for this one, but it is 4 strong here in the top side. It's a man disadvantage for Silvermanes. They need to be conscious of this and may have to choose to just let go of this one. Is in the bot side. It's Dank Pengu flashing out, managing to live. Oh, but gets hit by the deadly flourish. Ooh, Root doing a really good job of piloting that gen. 2 kills. Feeling pretty nasty. If you're TTQ, this is what you need. These are the kind of performances you want to have in order to get back into the game. And speaking of performance, it's a full topside dive counter engage coming out from Albie here. He just wants to buy a little bit of space. Manages to send the Pike Fling. Not sure that was worth to go. Try and follow up in the middle of 3 members here as Fully Anointed and it's Ricky going to see him on out of there. Sox has level 6. A little bit of damage would put Polaris within execution range. He doesn't have the passive right now. Is going to go into the ultimate. Gets the knockdown. Rich Ricky on the wrong side of this one. Sox not able to get it down. Albie manages to pick up one. Fully Anointed is going to be on the wrong side as it's the ultimate from the Soraka to buy a little bit of living space, a little bit of breathing room. And a huge timely ult there from Dank Pengu to keep that play on the top side alive. It was a massive overcommit there from the 3 strong members of TTQ, and they get punished for it, rightly so. And Silvermanes, they're not too upset with that one. Yes, you're getting poked out in this bot side. You're not happy about that, and yes, you've given up the 2 first early neutral objectives, but you've got gold in your pockets, and it's where you want it. Oh, Dimps, you need to be careful, buddy. And Sox, he is going to land the stun. He's going to land the undertow, and Dimps is just dead. Gets killed by the 4th shot from the gen. And no disrespect to Dimps, but that was disrespectful positioning. There was never a chance that you were going to be able to be there and not get punished. Especially having no flash. And so for TTQ right now, it's about getting these easy wins and making the easy plays, which is what they've been doing. Punishing summonerless champions and mostly just making Dimps have a really bad time. If nothing else, they could just say that they made Dimps miserable in this series, which is a win in and of its own. And Silvermanes, I want to see them slow this game down a little bit. Yes, they've been proactive in some ways. Responding, playing reactively to some of the plays that TTQ is what it made, but TTQ, I think, it just feels like they're in the driver's seat right now, even though the gold advantage is mostly towards Silvermanes. It's a little bit. It's not a lot to write home about, but it is, something. But it definitely feels like TTQ, they're determining how this game is going to get played in terms of pacing right now. I feel like they're in a stronger spot, especially with Root having that Hubris completed and completing the Tier 2 boots. I think that's really big. The movement speed is really nice to have as well. Being able to stay mobile in these fights. As Dimps potentially caught out here again. That hook is going to miss. Dimps is going to pop the barrier. Doesn't have access to the flash. Is fairly close to the turret though, so not in any other danger. Meanwhile though, Albie going to force the escape from its Ricky, using the ultimate to get to safety. And so both junglers trying to look for plays across this map, but it is a strong side advantage here for TTQ, so they will look to get their second jungler. Albie going to walk back up here. Let's see if they can grab it, Ricky. He doesn't have another escape tool. He's going to go fling underneath the turret, but is kind of tanky right now. Does have access to that Bramble Vest, so does this mean that autos don't necessarily hurt him as bad as they might otherwise. But if you're Ricky, you don't care about this at all. You're happy to absorb this pressure as your team picks up the second drag And most importantly, a Mountain Drag, as that ultimate I don't think went where it wanted to. Dimps is going to die here, even despite the Soraka ultimate giving him a little bit of health to work with. I do think, though, that fully anointed, that's not really where he wanted to go. Oh, Polaris, no, not underneath the tower, buddy. That's not where you want to go. Does have his jungler here, so we'll have a little space to work with. Is going to land the Q. It's Ricky. Not long for this world if he steps too far forward. Oh, Sox doesn't want to let this go. They're diving in between two turrets. Not going to find anybody, but we're at least looking for the plate. And for both teams right now, this is a much sloppier game than game one. I think just a lot of unnecessary trades of things where they don't need to be happening. For TTQ, it's the dive on the top side. And for Silvermanes, it's this bot side just not being respectful of the pressure that TTQ have right now, and the fact that they can bring more members over here, and the fact that their dive, at least right now, is quite a bit stronger than what Silvermanes have. And I think, no disrespect to Albie, but I think part of that has been that he just hasn't been aggressively trying to gank this bot side and at least try and put some fear into Root and to Sox Clinton. Because the more you're coming down there, even if you're not getting kills, the very threat that you will be down there frequently is enough to kind of convince the Gen and the Pyke to either play a little bit more conservatively or at least split up where you put Root underneath the turret and just let her farm up and then allow Sox Clinton to roam across the map, and at least that gives you a man advantage there for Silvermanes. But you only get that by aggressively ganking with that Nocturne. The whole point of having him is to make sure that you're applying that global threat that TTQ can't answer. You know, they do not have a way to get across the map as easily as Albie does on the Nocturne, so they need to start utilizing that a little bit more aggressively. He does have the armor bolts right now in that hex plate, but I don't think that's really going to be the most threatening item in the world on that Nocturne. It gives him a little bit more survivability in terms of going in, but that's only going to matter if there's someone alongside him to help make use of that. As Dimps gets hooked yet again, does buffer the Arcane Shift, so is not going to get fully tagged up. And you can see that combo, Root and Sox, they're communicating really, really well. When I land that hook, throw out the Deadly Flourish. It's a long, extended period of CC. And they're just being ruthless in how effectively they're applying pressure here to Dimps and Dank Pingu. But Sox, getting a little bit low there. The auto collects it with the Arcane Shift forward, playing aggressively. Dimps is saying, I've had enough of this. I'm putting you in the dirt. I don't need no jungle to come bail me out. I'll do it myself. Much like Bruce Banner, but he couldn't summon the Hulk. It's Root, though. Cancels the ultimate for some reason. Not sure why that was. They didn't see Nocturne on a ward, so maybe thought that it was coming in and is now going to be looking to try and survive it. Albie here is going to send fully anointed fleeing. Route 16, not long for the world. RX Genetics now getting busy on the LeBlanc. Picks up a nice donated kill. If you're RX Genetics, that's the best play in the world. Like, yep, thank you for literally doing all the work for me. I will now cash in on your hard work. As we're going to get a replay of that. So you see in the bot side where TTQ, they're getting aggressive. They're landing a lot of the CC, consistently landing hooks, putting the bot lane of Silvermanes constantly under threat. But then just steps a little too far forward. Does Root. I'm sorry. No, he's already dead. We were past the part. And so you see the forward part of that actually rather is the Root calls out the ultimate, but then doesn't. I wonder if he thought fully anointed was someone else and just didn't see him on the minimap until late and then didn't realize that it actually wasn't Albie and canceled the ultimate by accident. I would be curious to talk to them and see if that was what happened, because they don't see Nocturne on a ward. There's nothing that's indicated that Nocturne's going to ult them at that point. So I really want to know if it's just he thought fully anointed was the Nocturne in that Dimps doing a really good job to buffer the stun. As Dimps going to slam before he can get the ultimate out. Dank Pingu, though, going to be the sacrificial lamb there. Dimps wants to get underneath the turret. Flash from fully anointed. They have the damage to knock him down. Double kill goes over to Root. She's going to be happy with that. Yes, you do trade the Pyke, but so much of this gold is being donated over to this late game scaling carry for TTQ. Root. It does feel like now for TTQ, if they want to make it to this late game, their hopes rest on her. Oh no, that interaction. You can't get away from Albie. You can't get away from the Nocturne as the Malphite. If he's already pressed ult on you, it is just a one-way ticket. He is always going to go with you as he's going to pick that one up. Albie on a killing spree, 3-0 and 2. Silvermane's jungle are getting down. Taylor Swifties getting in a fight with RX Genetics. Oh, the ultimate did whiff because it was stuck in place on the clone. Some fancy footwork and a nice little bit of deception there from RX Genetics. Gets away. And a fight he picked, but he doesn't have to blow the flash. Does get the flash from Taylor Swifties, so that will be something that they can look to punish here in a few seconds. Pink's coming down on this third dragon. Both teams would like to fight for this one. Albie here. That ultimate timing on the Nocturnal is fairly short. Isn't going to be up just yet, but as long as they're aggressing their positioning, they shouldn't need it to get engaged with the fight. Teleports being channeled from both mid laners. They're both here. It's a 4-on-4 right now. Polaris has access to his teleport and can look to join this fight, as can It's Ricky. And it feels like this tension is slowly building up right now. Both these teams, it's been ugly in their early games. Is fully noted, just trying to make sure they can push Dimps out of the river and prevent the Ezreal from getting the poke down. But neither team willing to commit to it yet. Just a lot of hovering right now, trying to fight for vision, want to get control of that. And RX Genetics and Albie, they're looking for the backline here. They want to grab Taylor Swifties or Root, as they are immediately going to go down on top of the Root. But remember, Albie's all by himself. Doesn't have a great way to get that further engaged, as he is going to get hooked back, get stunned up. Albie trying to flash away by a little bit of space, and now Root going to throw out the ultimate, trying to kill the jungler. Teleport's committed here. It's Ricky. Wants to see if he can find a couple of players to get on top of Polaris. Onto the middle of 4 people, but he's going to get stunned. Root, say a prayer. Both of these teams, you're about to meet your god. Polaris going to manage to walk out. Nobody dying yet in that exchange. Teleport's going, or sorry, rather, recall's going to be channeled here from both the way. And I was going to say the other champion name, but I was waiting to see if that hook was going to land and somebody potentially die. Okay, it's Ricky. He does have access to the Unstoppable. You don't want to get tagged up here, but instead just calling it off. They don't want to fight for this dragon just yet. It's Ricky staying around here for some reason. Yeah, that may have been an my God, a welcome overstayed. But speaking of overstaying, a welcome Avi here is going to be potentially the next to fall in this fight. Gets the fear so far, has a little space to work with. Sox Twinning manages to hook one, but that's not the one they want. Unstoppable now committed from It's Ricky, but Dank Pingu doing such a good job at keeping the members of Silver Mates healed up. Now it's the ultimate committed. It's a 1-for-1. The gen goes down, and now a big part of their damage is gone. Polaris cutting off the retreat here for TTQ. They want to pick up as many members as they can. Polaris does have his passive, is going to resurrect. It's Ricky goes down. Sox Clinton potentially wanted to land a cheeky hook, but instead has to call it off. Silvermanes, they win the extended fight. They get the drag. They get what they wanted, and now they're going to walk on out. TTQ, they were looking for so many angles there to try and pick off the squishier members of Silvermanes. The health bar is getting so low. But dang Pingu, a standing ovation for the support there for Silvermanes, doing a massive job in keeping the team healed up. Every time it looked like someone was going to fall to that threshold where, you know, maybe they might die and be in execute range, Dang Pingu says, not today. That's the Rocket doing a massive amount of work to keep Silvermanes in that fight. And the result of that is going to be about a 2,000 gold lead. They've got pressure now on the map. Players look to start to pick up some of these turret plates. Does need to be careful, though. Root is very strong and actually can 1v1 this Zhen. If it was a 1v1 fight, I really wouldn't put my odds on the Zhen right now just because of the itemization that Root already has. Has the Collector, has the Hubris, and that is a tremendous amount of firepower on Gen. Oh, Polaris may be in trouble here. He needs to be careful. Wants to see if he can get the damage on top of someone just to buy a little bit of space. He gets tagged up momentarily. Root now potentially on the wrong side of this fight. Wants to get a little bit of space. Forced to flash out, but is not going to be in damage range now. As Polaris trying to do his best on this 1v1. Polaris needs to dodge and not get hit. If he gets slow, this is potentially disastrous. Dank Pingu is coming in. Dodge the last hit, and it's potentially home free. The healing coming out, but now the Sejuani wants to get involved. Dank Pingu doing a really good job. Dodges the Glacial Prison. It's the Arcane Barrage from across the map to tag a couple of members. It's a lot traded for both teams, but they managed to walk out alive. No one drops. Oh, and you gotta love games like this. As both these teams playing on a razor-thin edge. Just one misstep, one foot put wrong, one ability used where it shouldn't have been by any player on either of those teams, and that's a couple of kills going down. Polaris showing his own fancy footwork. He needs to dodge this hook. That's going to be the ultimate committed now for the Nocturne. Going down on top of the way. They like to knock him down if they can. He is going to get feared up and potentially grabbed, but not to his death. Wait, now trying to get the long-range poke coming out. This is just two beefy top laners whacking each other in the head, so nothing to see here. They will retreat underneath turret. Polaris landing the full combo. Polaris goes into the ultimate. Point blank rank ult from It's Ricky to buy a little bit of space. Flash forward. It's Ricky. Ooh, has the empowered autos. Players needs to be careful once the time goes out. Lands the pullback, but needs to be careful. Needs to walk on out of there. Oh, Sox Clinton, he's waiting for it. Albie's going to tag him up, so he knows that he's coming there. Oh, Sox, you need to determine whether or not you want the kill or you want to live, and decides that he does, in fact, want to live. Really, really, really tense game state for both these teams. You can see how bad TTQ wants to win the game. You can see these risks that they're taking, these plays that they're willing to make just to try and pick off members of Silvermanes. Look for that opportunity to set up around a neutral objective. Any advantage for them is a good advantage, no matter how small, is going to be their thinking. And Dems, meanwhile, in this interim, even though the gold is still firmly in the hands of Root, has done well to recover, but recovery does not mean staying in the mid lane and getting killed by the Nocturne. For Root, as Sox Clinton was one auto away from being completely dead there and is now going to be forced to recall 40 seconds until this dragon spawns. This should just be Silvermanes. I would be very surprised if TTQ decides they want to contest this. And they don't need to. They have plenty of time to just wait this out. They don't need to go immediately towards the drag pit. It's only the 4th dragon of the game. So Silvermanes is not a drag point yet. You can just let this go. And potentially look for something else across the map. Things coming down, though. TTQ looking like they want to stay scrappy with this. Oh, Demps needs to be very careful. Sox going to land the point blank hook, so that means that you don't get the full pullback. And he's shown his hand, so that means now he has to walk on out of there. Silvermane's going to try and clear as much vision as they possibly can. They want to keep this area dark. They want to make sure that Taylor Swifties and Root do not feel safe to get near this turret, as Rich Ricky now going to be getting past where the skeleton of the turret was. And now this is a team fight. All right, so that's going to be Silvermanes grabbing the dragon. What else can they get? Route 16, plenty of time to fire on the backline. Polaris grabs one. He has the resurrection. He can't go into it. They've got space to work with. They're forcing the rest of the members out, getting down on top of the Jhin. If they can knock him down, that's a huge deal, but gets pulled back. One more auto would do it. In fact, gets him 2, 3, potentially 4. It's a double kill as Taylor Swift is trying to run. 4 dead for the side of TTQ. Ping's going on to the Baron. Huge play by Silvermanes. We're going to watch that replay and watch how that happened. You saw that early game, or sorry, you saw that early fight positioning. RX Gen X knocks down the turret, so that means that the Malphite not going to be involved in the early part, and this is what matters. Yes, there's a lot of spacing getting got here from the Sejuani and getting multiple members kind of slowly stunned up, but the Malphite there, not part of that wombo combo, means that they're actually missing quite a bit of the follow-up that they need to lock other members down, and with Polaris having the resurrection, it gives them all the space in the world. Gives Albie plenty of time to get forward to get a couple of those kills. And so the aggression that we've been highlighting from Silvermanes perfectly on display there, doing what they needed to do to get that team fight when just playing, again, on the margins. And Polaris, I cannot sing his praises enough, identifying when he can aggressively go in. And that resurrection, giving him a second opportunity and buying all the space that Silvermanes needed to get onto the back line. And TTQ, once they started to get spread out, it just made it a lot easier for the Nocturne follow-up to knock him down. Just talking about Root. And right now, I feel like that's a tragedy because she's done so well. 6-4-1 on the Jhin. Has been winning many times incrementally throughout this game. But just hasn't been adequately rewarded. We even saw that in the last game where on that Lux was getting quite a bit of damage done, was doing really, really well, but just in those team fights wasn't coming away with more. And now for TTQ, you're yet again on the back foot. We saw this exact same scene in the last game. This time, RX Genetics going to be donated on that bot side as it's 4 strong here on the top side. 4 Silvermanes. They're going to knock down the Malphite. Not sure that the Nocturnal was needed, but actually it was because he did manage to get himself to safety. But Albie waited until the Malphite had fully committed to the ultimate and then followed up, so I like that. Good call there. And TTQ know that they're always going to lose this topside turret, so instead they're making the call to try and get the mid turret and give Root a chance to grab that turret in the bot side. They just want to get some of this objective gold. But Polaris, though, still on this top side, still doing quite a bit of damage to the turret. Polaris can just walk on out of here. He's not really scared of Sox unless he overstays his welcome, and it will just start to walk out. Ping's coming down. When we talk about overstaying your welcome, this is what I mean. And he has, in fact, overstayed. He is going to go into the ultimate, try and buy a little bit of space, but yeah, the only space he's going to be getting is in the graveyard. A nice little plot that says, your body here. But Silvermane's, though, still wasting no time. They're constantly sieging. They've got purple for about another minute, and they want to use it to the fullest extent that they possibly can. Let me see what they get here. Not sure that I agree with the ultimate use is there to try and get a little bit of space when they are so far forward. Fully anointed, you're going to be wishing that you could get that ultimate back. And TTQ may be wishing they didn't make this play. I'll be using the ultimate to turn off the lights and buy a little bit of space. So TTQ not punished for the overextension there. They continue to walk on out. This is going to be Root channel the ultimate, but it's RX Genetics on the backside. Root needs to be careful of the positioning. Health bar is low. Taylor Swift is forced to walk out. Not a lot of damage got there, and now Demps potentially can look to return the favor. Silvermane's is this game of yo-yo and a ping-pong with the wave going back and forth. TTQ, they need to slow this game down. You need to not be in a rush. You've got Root on this gen. There will become a point where she's absolutely impossible to deal with. Root has plenty of damage right now. Not a lot of armor to shred through, so don't need to worry about that. Just building raw damage and crit chance. And to get these weaker members of Silvermane's down. By weaker, I mean the squishier members, the ones that, you know, don't have 5,000 health, which is almost all of them, really. And Ping's coming down. This is going to be the ultimate team, the pan-ultimate team fight for both these teams, I think. You win this fight, it's a huge deal. Puts you on drag point. You get a lot of space to work with. Scuttlecrab's going to go the way towards Silvermane's. They're doing a really good job of flanking Polaris. Not spotted here. Has the potential wrap around. Sox couldn't. Going to land the hook on top of Dems. Oh, but they've let the backline expose. RX Genetics. Oh, Root send it to the waiting arms of the LeBlanc. And now Polaris excellently positioned to punish TTQ. Flash forward into the waiting arms of even 3 more members. He likes those odds. Say your prayers to your God, because you're about to meet him. Oh, Silvermanes are happy to introduce TTQ to their deity of choice. They get the dragon, they get a bunch of kills, and surely that's going to give them the winning momentum they need to close this series out. Oh, it was just such perfect positioning. Polaris doing a really good job of waiting until the last possible moment in that brush to split the members. Root sent waiting into the waiting arms of LeBlanc, the Nocturne coming over the middle, making sure that there was no way that that gen was going to get away. And now for Silvermanes, it's just about putting the final touches on this game. Spectacularly well done from them. And this is a testament to the Silvermanes team. Even when it seems like you're beating them, even when it seems like you have a lead, they just have this way of excellently team fighting their way back into any position. And fully anointed now, they got to make something happen here. They want to get something for their troubles because they're starting to lose massive parts of their base. Oh, Root caught in the ultimate and now has to run dead before she can blink. And now this will surely be the closing steps, as it's just going to be 2 dead. TTQ, they don't have enough members to put out all the fires in the base. Polaris and company, they can look to start to put the finishing touches on the base, knock down the final structures. It's Ricky and fully anointed trying to do what they can to delay the inevitable, but I don't think they have the damage. I don't think they have the ability to make this last stand. Alba here, he's going to knock down this Malphite. Just a little bit of damage left to pick him up. Let's make it to the fountain, but it's not going to be enough. The final touch is put into the Nexus. Silvermanes collect an easy 2-0 win over TTQ. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am with a victorious member of the Silvermane squad. I'm with Albie. Albie, how you feeling, man?
We're feeling good. I'm feeling good. It was a fun series to play, both games. Good team win overall, though. Everybody played really well.
Yeah, a very, very contentious game for the first two games, so we'll just launch right into it. So the first game, I think, very much went to scale for you guys in terms of what y'all wanted to do. The draft made a lot of sense. Walk me through trying to navigate some of the bot lane difficulties in terms of trying to protect Demps there and make sure that you're not going down too heavily in that early stage of the game.
It was rough, especially that first game with the Lux Zoe picks. It was very poke heavy. And then was, it made the poor little dragon have a rough time in lane. But he did a great job. It didn't end up mattering because we scaled into the late game. We were able to hold on, play towards our strengths. We had a very strong top jungle that game. And Dens was able to scale. He still did the most damage that game. And it was similar for game 2. We knew they were going to try and overload bot with the Malphite Sejuani picks later on. They aren't going to play for top side too much. So we did our best to, get top ahead early, have that be stable, and then we punish bot lane later on with numbers and with advantages.
Gotcha. Walk me what it's like to work with Polaris in that top side. You guys seem to be a fairly dynamic duo. You guys make a lot of the plays the same way. Who's kind of the shot caller there, and what's it like kind of working with him?
It's been great. I mean, like Polaris is amazing. I've been so happy to be a part of this team. I was so excited to join since the first minute. He's been an amazing top laner. He can play so many different things. He plays them all well, efficiently, and he's just so much fun to play with. His comms are great. And in regards to these games, it's honestly both of us. We kind of bounce off each other. Like for example, that game two, there was a top dive happening with three people, and I was there to hover on my grump, but he told me, okay, come now. I'm like, okay, bro, bet. I go now, and we end up turning that around, and it was just things that we trust each other. We built that rapport, and it's just we can play off each other really well.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions before I let you go, because we got another series to cast. We weren't expecting to cast on this stream, but we will be. We'll be doing that Bush Wookiees versus Baggy Pampers series here shortly. So you guys are 2-0 now. Y'all are now in contention for that first place slot here within the Hardwire Division. Obviously, BBC is the other team at the top of the standings there. What are your expectations for that potentially as you guys get ready to face them in the weeks to come?
As of now, we're taking a week at a time. We're planning, drafting for each game accordingly. But we're excited. We're happy to be at the top. We want to stay there. We're playing to stay there. And I'm really excited to see how this team does in the weeks going forward. And I love Silvermanes, and I want us to be all the way at number one.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, I'm going to let you go and let you celebrate with your team. Congratulations on the win. Fantastic job. Looking forward to seeing y'all play again. And tell your teams I said congratulations.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.